What's going on, Japsters? This is your boy SYNTELL with the Intel. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscription button, click the bell icon for up-to-date news breaks, and give us a well-placed thumbs up. Here are a few reasons why I believe that Miles Morales will be in Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 1, Miles Morales' character is already established within the universe. In case you forgot about Aaron Davis, aka the Prowler from Spider-Man Homecoming, he makes his cinematic debut. This was a bit of a big deal at the time because of who played the role, Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover. Before Donald Glover's debut, there was a huge rumor that Donald would be selected to play Miles Morales. There wasn't any real validity to the claim other than the fact that Donald was a huge fan of the series. It was the same scene in Community that gained Glover all of the notoriety to play Miles in the first place. To make things even more meta, this Easter egg is shown in the apartment of Aaron Davis, Miles Morales' uncle, aka the Prowler, in Into the Spider-Verse. So, to quickly reconnect all the dots, Donald Glover is playing the character Aaron Davis in Spider-Man Homecoming. Aaron Davis tells Peter Parker in the hilarious interrogation scene that he has a nephew he's rather fond of, Miles. It's a bit of proof and a whole lot of meta regarding an actor we wanted to play Miles at some point, a slight wink at the rumor that got it all started within a world already created by a character he already played within the cinematic universe. Spider-Man's Into the Spider-Verse is already played with interdimensional activity. Sony has already laid out a foundation for all types of Spider-Man hijinks. In fact, they named their cinematic universe Sony's Spider-Man universe. With this many variations of Spider-Man and the possibility of variations within the MCU, you might as well kickstart the franchise off with a character that is already successful. I'm sure whatever monetary and marketing agreement that Sony has with Disney will include spoils of each other's success with this shared property. Every piece adds to the Spider-Man hype. Sony's release of the Miles Morales version of the Spider-Man game was a huge success for early adopters to the PlayStation 5. This wasn't a story centered around Peter Parker, it was a complete story dedicated to Miles. Into the Spider-Verse was critically acclaimed. It was on many people's top 2 for the greatest Spider-Man story ever told in cinema. It even won an Oscar. This character couldn't possibly be more ready for the spotlight of the cinematic universe than right now. If you're Sony and you're wanting to surpass the success of Into the Spider-Verse, you better be smart enough to at least give him a cameo in the MCU that focuses on the same interdimensional possibilities that launched this property into superstardom in the first place. Not incorporating him would be like leaving a stack of money on the table. This is the easiest layup that Sony will get, introducing a live-action Miles character in what can already be seen as a nerd feeding frenzy. If the mantle is going to be passed, now is the time to do it. FEAST, an acronym for Food Emergency Aid Shelter Training. Now, FEAST is a famous homeless shelter in the Marvel Comics. In the No Way Home trailer, we see Peter Parker running through what appears to be a shelter, donning a black Spidey suit. This might not strike you as something to place a bet on, but hear me out. The only thing separating the black suit from Miles' suit is the red trimming and maybe a pair of Jordans if you're a fan of the animation. Who's to say that later on in the movie, Peter doesn't just give Miles the suit and allow him to make the changes to it later to become the suit we all know and adore. So does this seem like a reach? Well, there are leaked photos of the Feast truck. In the comics, Feast is where Aunt May works. In the Miles Morales Spider-Man video games, Feast is established as well. There's even a playable mission called Harlem Feast Shutdown. Miles Morales volunteers at Feast with his free time. There could easily be a scene where Aunt May is introduced to Miles and Miles is then introduced to Peter Parker. In the No Way Home trailer, the scene we see Peter running through the shelter could be a reveal to Miles since Peter doesn't have a mask on. In both the comics, Into the Spider-Verse, and the recently released video game, Peter Parker is Miles' mentor. In the No Way Home trailer, Dr. Strange tells Peter the entire world is about to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. He doesn't say anything about Spider-Man no longer existing. You can't have both. A Spider-Man helmed by Miles Morales and mentored by Peter Parker. A Peter Parker that is no longer remembered by the rest of the world. A Peter Parker hiding in plain sight. A Peter Parker that is allowed to be an everyday kid going to college, loving Mary Jane, the woman of his dreams, in complete peace. We have to remember that the crux of the No Way Home trailer is Peter Parker buckling under the weight of being Spider-Man. So much so that he's asking Dr. Strange to alter reality in order to give a moment's breath. One of the biggest mantras that Spider-Man tells his fans and followers is that with great power comes great responsibility. Parker wouldn't leave New York without it being protected. What better way to leave a city in good hands while he retires or takes a mental holiday than with Miles? A guardian that he can personally coach. A person that understands what being Spider-Man is all about. A good kid with a big heart. A kid who needs proper guidance. Now, what I am worried about is how much screen time all of these characters will require. I don't think anybody wants to see a Peter Parker bait and switch Miles Morales movie. With Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man allegedly making appearances, there doesn't seem like a whole lot of room to spare for another alleged Miles Morales. Also, with the Sinister Six potentially showing up as well, this film could easily go the direction of the overpopulated Spider-Man 3. As much as I would love to see Miles in No Way Home, I'd much rather put him on the bench this go round if it means maintaining a stable storyline. We all want No Way Home to succeed, but it's also fun to dream the possibility of Spidey rocking the black and red trim. And if we're really lucky, maybe he'll rock a pair of Jordan 1s to go along with it. That's the scoop for the day. Thank you for hanging out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to receive up-to-the-minute updates. There's also a nifty little thumbs up button that you can hit as well. This is SYNTELL with the Intel, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.